I knocked on the living room door, and he answered with his fist, followed by words that shattered 10 years of breaking my back to support this family. Your money is mine. The next morning, I opened my laptop, $96,000 transferred like clockwork over 4 years. But there was another charity fund that had swallowed 48,000 more. I didn't call the police right away. I planned one final delivery evidence, hidden microphones, and an entire family as unwitting witnesses. My name is Ava Monroe, and for 4 years, I've been funding my stepfather's lies without knowing it. The video arrived at 11:43 p.m. on a Tuesday, buzzing through my phone as I reviewed shipping manifests in my cramped apartment overlooking Red Ridge's industrial district. Uncle Ray had meant to send it to my brother Ethan, that much was clear from his follow-up text. Wrong person, honey. Delete that. But I'd already opened it. The screen showed my mother's dining room, that familiar yellowed light from the chandelier she refused to replace. Dale sat at the head of the table, beer bottle catching the glow as he gestured broadly. His voice, rougher after what looked like his 4th or 5th drink, carried perfectly through the recording. Ava thinks she's so smart with her logistics job, he said, and several cousins laughed. Sends me $2,000 every month like clockwork. Calls it her marriage savings fund. He made air quotes, nearly knocking over his bottle. 4 years now. You know what she saved $96,000? My stomach dropped through the floor. That's right, Dale continued, leaning back in the chair that creaked under his weight. Our little cash cow doesn't even ask to see statements, just keeps pumping money in, thinking Daddy's investing it safe and sound. Cash cow. The words hit like ice water. Mom's voice floated from somewhere off camera. Dale, maybe we shouldn't… What? Marion Girl wanted someone to manage her money. I'm managing it. Keeping this roof over our heads. Aren't I keeping Ethan's truck running? That transmission last month wasn't cheap. Ethan's laugh boomed through the speaker. My half-brother, 2 years younger and still living in the basement at 32. She always was too trusting. Remember when she gave me her car in college because I said I needed it for job interviews? Sold that thing for $3,000, Dale added, raising his beer in a mock toast. To Ava Monroe, patron saint of the Whitaker household. My hands shook as I set the phone down. The laptop screen blurred, but I forced myself to log into my bank account. There they were, automatic transfers. $2,000 on the 15th of every month. 48 payments. $96,000. I'd started the fund after my promotion to senior logistics coordinator at Northline Freight Systems. Dale had offered to help when I mentioned wanting to save for marriage and a house. Interest rates are better through my credit union connections, he'd said. Plus, you won't be tempted to touch it. The bitter laugh that escaped me echoed in my empty kitchen. I grabbed my box of receipts from the closet, the one where I kept copies of everything a habit from work that bled into life. There, paper-clipped together the initial agreement Dale had typed up on his computer. Ava Monroe Savings Fund. It read, managed by Dale Whitaker, his signature next to mine, but no bank statements. He'd always had excuses. The credit union only sent annual summaries. The statements went to his address as the account manager. He'd show me next visit. Always next visit. I pulled up the calculator on my phone. $2,000 a month was a stretch on my salary, even with overtime. I'd skipped vacations, driven a 15-year-old Honda, lived on pasta and frozen vegetables. Meanwhile, Dale hadn't worked in 2 years bad back. He claimed. Mom worked part-time at the church thrift shop. And Ethan. Ethan posted photos from Vegas last month. The video kept playing. I heard my Aunt Shirley ask, "Doesn't she ever ask about it?" "Every few months," Dale replied. I tell her it's earning steady interest. Show her some numbers I printed off the internet. Girl sees what she wants to see, thinks she's being responsible, building her future. While building ours, someone muttered, and they all laughed again. I grabbed my keys and phone, ready to drive the 20 minutes to their house right then. But something made me stop. The way Dale's face had looked in that video, flush with alcohol and arrogance, reminded me of every time I'd tried to stand up to him growing up. The man who'd married my mother when I was 10 had always known exactly how to make me feel small, worthless, like I owed him for keeping a roof over our heads. Instead, I did what I did best at work. I documented everything. Screenshot the video before Ray could delete it from the server, downloaded 4 years of bank statements, photographed the original agreement, typed up a timeline of every conversation I could remember about the money. At 1:13 a.m., I finally closed the laptop. Tomorrow, I'd confront him. Tonight, I'd plan exactly how. The autumn wind rattled my windows as I stared at the ceiling, calculating $96,000, 4 years of sacrifice. And Dale Whitaker, the man who'd called me a burden since childhood, had been laughing about it over beer with the family. Cash cow. Those words would cost him everything. The drive to their house took 18 minutes instead of 20. I'd pushed the speedometer past 70 on Route 291, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. It was 3:15 p.m. On Wednesday, I'd left work early, telling my supervisor I had a family emergency. Not a lie. Dale's truck sat crooked in the driveway, one tire on the dead lawn. Empty beer cans littered the porch steps. The screen door hung off its frame had been that way for 3 years now, since Dale promised to fix it next weekend. I didn't knock. The door was unlocked, like always. The living room reeked of stale cigarettes and something sour old beer soaked into carpet. Maybe. Dale sprawled across the recliner, ESPN blaring. A half-empty bottle of Jim Beam sat on the TV tray beside him. Wednesday afternoon drunk. Of course. Where's my money? Dale. He jerked upright, bloodshot eyes focusing slowly. What the hell are you doing here? My savings. $96,000. Where is it? His face went through several expressions: surprise, calculation, then that familiar sneer. Your savings are fine. Told you not to worry about it. Show me the statements. Can't just pull them up right now. Banking hours. Stop. I held up my phone. Ray's video cued. Cash cow, that's what you called me. The sneer melted. He stood, swaying slightly, towering over me at 6'3". The smell of bourbon hit me in waves. You been spying on me. Ray sent it by accident. Now, where's my money? Your money. His voice dropped to that dangerous register I remembered from teenage years. Who paid for your clothes growing up? Who kept you fed when your deadbeat dad took off? My mother did, and I've paid you back 10 times over. You haven't paid shit. He stepped closer. $2,000 a month that barely covers what you owe for existing. I want to see the account. Now. Or what? Another step. I could see the veins in his neck. You'll call the police. Tell them that you gave money to your stepfather. That's called family support, sweetheart. It's called theft when you lie about... The slap came fast, his palm cracking across my left cheek. My head snapped sideways, ears ringing. Before I could recover, his fist connected with my ribs. I dropped to one knee, gasping. Your money is mine, he snarled, grabbing my hair. Every cent you make belongs to this family. You think you're better than us with your college degree and office job? Mom's voice drifted from the kitchen. Dale, what's happening? Nothing. Marion, Ava's just leaving. He released my hair, shoving me toward the door. I stumbled, caught myself on the wall. My cheek burned. Something wet trickled from my nose blood. Get out, he said. And that $2,000 better hit my account on the 15th, like always. Or I'll tell everyone what an ungrateful bitch you really are. How you abandoned your family when we needed you most. I drove 3 blocks before pulling over, hands shaking too hard to steer. In the rearview mirror, my cheek was already swelling, a purple bloom spreading under the skin. Blood had dried on my upper lip. The emergency room at Red Ridge General knew me. I'd brought Mom here enough times over the years for her falls. The triage nurse, Sandra, took one look and guided me to a curtained area. Let me guess, she said, preparing her camera. You walked into a door. Dale Whitaker, I said. My stepfather, and I want everything documented. Sandra's expression shifted. Good for you, honey. Let's do this right. Photos from 3 angles. Detailed description of events. X-rays showing bruised ribs. Nothing broken. The doctor, a young resident named Harris, typed everything carefully into the system. You pressing charges? He asked. I'm doing something better. My best friend Nora met me in the hospital parking lot. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a careful hug. That bastard, she whispered. Please tell me you're done. No more money, no more visits, no more anything. I'm done being his victim, I said, but I'm not done with him. That night, in Nora's guest room, I made lists, changed every password on every account, set up a new bank account at a different institution, canceled the automatic transfer scheduled for the 15th 4 days away. You need a lawyer, Nora said, bringing me ice for my face. Tomorrow. Tonight. I'm planning. Planning what? I looked at the evidence spread across her kitchen table. Bank statements, the video, hospital records, the original agreement Dale had signed. He's been stealing from me for 4 years, I said. But that's not all he's been doing. Dale Whitaker has been lying to everyone, the family, the church, probably the government, and I'm going to prove it. Nora sat beside me, studying the papers. You know he'll come after you when the transfer doesn't go through. Let him try. I touched my swollen cheek. He just gave me everything I need. At 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Mom. Honey, Dale says there was a misunderstanding. You know how he gets when he drinks. He didn't mean it. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to misunderstand. Thursday morning, 9:20 a.m., first call Wells Fargo, where Dale had his mortgage. After 20 minutes of transfers and security questions, I reached someone useful. I'm calling about the Whitaker account, I said. Dale Whitaker is my stepfather. I've been helping with payments and need to verify the balance for tax purposes. I can't provide specific information without authorization, but, the representative paused. I can confirm that account is current and has approximately 6 months remaining if payments continue at the present rate. 6 months. I did quick math. If my $2,000 monthly had been going to the mortgage, that would be $48,000 over 4 years. But the mortgage should have been paid off by now, or close to it. Where was the other $48,000 Next Call Harvest Gate Fellowship, the church where Mom volunteered? Hi, this is Ava Monroe, Marion Whitaker's daughter. I'm updating our family's financial records and need to verify some charitable contributions for taxes. The secretary transferred me to Corinne Blackwood, the church treasurer. I'd met her at Easter services, a sharp woman in her 70s who'd run an accounting firm before retiring. Ava, dear, how nice to hear from you. How can I help? I'm trying to track some donations. Has Dale been contributing regularly? A pause. Well, that's interesting you should ask. Dale hasn't made donations, but he's been receiving our hardship assistance for about 3 years now. My pen stopped moving. Hardship assistance. Yes, through our community support program. He applied when he stopped working back injury. He said, We've been providing $1,500 monthly to help with expenses. $1,500 a month, 36 months, $54,000. Mrs. Blackwood, what documentation did he provide? Medical forms, household expenses, the usual. He stated no family members were able to assist, said you'd moved away for work and lost touch. I see. Could you email me copies of his applications? That would be irregular? She hesitated. But given that you're family and this affects you, I suppose I could share what's public record. Give me your email. 20 minutes later, my inbox pinged. Dale's applications. Dated and signed. Everyone claiming zero family support. Everyone stating his adult children were estranged and unable to provide assistance. I forwarded everything to my new Gmail account, then called Riley Thatcher, the lawyer Nora had recommended. Can you come in this afternoon? Riley asked after I'd summarized the situation. Bring everything. At 2:30 p.m., I sat in a sleek downtown office, watching Riley review my evidence. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe 40, with shrewd green eyes that missed nothing. "The assault is criminal," she said. "We can file charges today." "Not yet. I want to understand the full scope first." Riley nodded. "The fraud is extensive. Lying on church assistance applications while receiving money from you that's both civil and potentially criminal fraud. The $96,000 he took under false pretenses is theft by deception." "What about recovering the money?" "If he's spent it, which seems likely, recovery could be difficult. But," she smiled slightly, "there are other ways to get justice. His house, for instance. If your money went into the mortgage, you might have a claim." I pulled out another folder. "There's more. I've been tracking his social media through Mom's Facebook. Look, photos of Dale at the casino. Dale with a new riding mower. Dale and Ethan at a Broncos game, lower-level seats, $300 each, all dated within the last 2 years. He's been living well," Riley observed, "while claiming poverty to the church and stealing from you? And probably not reporting any of it to the IRS. Now you're thinking strategically?" Riley made notes. "Here's what I suggest. Document everything. Create a comprehensive timeline. Get written statements from anyone who's witnessed relevant conversations. Then we build a case so airtight that Dale either settles immediately or faces complete ruin." "How long?" "Give me a week to review everything thoroughly. Meanwhile, protect yourself. Change locks if he has keys. Install cameras. Save every text and voicemail." That evening, I sat in my apartment with a spreadsheet open. 3 columns: date, amount, and source. The numbers were staggering. From me, $96,000 over 4 years. From the church, $54,000 over 3 years. Total $150,000. My phone buzzed. Dale. "Where's the fucking money transfer didn't come through?" I didn't respond. Another text. "You answer me right now or I'm coming over there." Then Ethan. "Dad says you're being a selfish bitch. Family helps family." "Mom, please, honey, just send the money. You know how he gets." I screenshot everything, adding them to my evidence folder labeled Harassment Threats. At 11:15 p.m., I opened a new document and began typing Timeline of Financial Fraud, Dale Whitaker, January 2021. Initial agreement signed for savings account, February 2021. First $2,000 transfer, March 2021. Dale applies for church assistance, claims no family support. By 2 a.m., I had 18 pages. Bank records cross-referenced with his church applications. His Facebook posts about purchases aligned with my transfers. A clear pattern of deception spanning years. Nora knocked softly. "You should sleep." Almost done. I'm sending copies to 3 different email accounts and uploading to cloud storage. You know he's going to escalate when Sunday comes and there's no money. I looked at my reflection in the laptop screen. The bruise had darkened to deep purple, spreading across my cheekbone. "Good," I said. "Let him. Every move he makes now just adds to my case." "What about your mom?" The question I'd been avoiding. She made her choice years ago. She's still making it. But even as I said it, I wondered, how much did Mom really know? And when Dale's house of cards finally collapsed, would she thank me or hate me for exposing the truth? Sunday night, 11:47 p.m. I sat at my laptop, the email drafted and ready. 5 days since Dale hit me. 5 days of his increasingly unhinged texts and voicemails. The 15th had come and gone with no transfer, and his rage had escalated from threats to promises. "You're destroying this family," his last voicemail said. "When I find you, you'll wish you'd just sent the money." Perfect. More evidence. The email subject line read, "Important information regarding Dale Whitaker. Please read, recipients." 23 family members. 8 neighbors whose emails I'd found through Mom's contacts, Pastor Williams and the church board, and 3 of Dale's drinking buddies. The message was clinical, factual. Dear friends and family, this email contains important information about financial irregularities involving Dale Whitaker that you should be aware of. Over the past 4 years, I have transferred $96,000 to Dale under the pretense that he was managing a savings account for my future. No such account exists. During this same period, Dale has received approximately $54,000 in hardship assistance from Harvest Gate Fellowship, while falsely claiming no family members were providing support. Attached, you will find bank statements showing my transfers, Dale's church assistance applications claiming no family support, documentation that these funds were not saved or invested as promised, records showing the money was spent on gambling, entertainment, and personal purchases. When I requested my savings back, Dale physically assaulted me. Hospital records and police report are attached. I am sharing this information because others may have been similarly deceived. The church should know their charitable funds were obtained through false pretenses. Family members deserve to know where borrowed money actually went. This is not about revenge. This is about truth and protecting others from similar exploitation. Sincerely, Ava Monroe. 22 attachments. Every piece of evidence organized and labeled. My finger hovered over send. Once this went out, there was no taking it back. The family would implode. Mom would be humiliated. Dale would. My phone rang. Nora. You sure about this? She asked. He's had 5 days to make this right, to apologize, to offer any explanation, and 43 threatening messages instead. Then light the match. Girl. I scheduled the email for 6 a.m. Monday morning, then sent individual messages to my supervisor at Northline and building security, warning them Dale might show up at my workplace. Monday, 6:01 a.m. My phone exploded. Aunt Shirley. Oh my God, Ava, is this real? Cousin Marcus. Always knew Dale was shady. Unknown number, probably a neighbor. Your mother needs to know about this. Pastor Williams. Ms. Monroe, please call me immediately. But the best was from Ethan, posted publicly on Facebook. My sister is a lying bitch trying to destroy our family with fake documents. Don't believe her bullshit. I screenshot it, adding to my defamation folder. By 7 a.m., Mom called, sobbing. How could you? Everyone knows now. Everyone at church, the neighbors. How could you humiliate us like this? How could Dale steal $96,000 from me? It wasn't stealing. He was helping you save Mom. Stop. You know that's not true. You were in the room when he called me a cash cow. Silence. Then, he's going to kill you. Then you'd better stop him, or the police will. I arrived at work to find security already briefed. Dale had called the main office 3 times, demanding to speak with me. They'd blocked the number. At lunch, Riley called. The church wants to meet. Corinne Blackwood has been investigating all morning. Turns out Dale wasn't the only one running this scam, but he was the biggest beneficiary. When, Wednesday, 2 p.m., can you make it? I'll be there. Tuesday morning brought an unexpected ally. Julia, my cousin Danny's daughter, called from college. Aunt Ava, I saw your email. I need to tell you something about Dale. My stomach tightened. What about him? When I was 16, at Grandma's birthday. Her voice cracked. He cornered me in the basement, said things, tried to touch me. I told Mom, but she said not to make waves, said it would destroy the family. Julia, I'm so sorry. I have texts from Mom admitting she knew. And there's another girl, Brittany, from church. Same thing happened at a youth group lock-in. Another piece of Dale's facade crumbling. That afternoon, our building's security called. Ms. Monroe, there's an Ethan Whitaker here demanding to see you. Don't let him up. I'm coming down. I met him in the lobby with 2 security guards present. Ethan looked haggard, unshaven, his usual cockiness replaced with desperation. You need to fix this, he said. Take it back. Say you were confused. I was very clear. The church is canceling Dad's assistance. The mortgage company's calling about missed payments. You're destroying everything. Dale destroyed everything when he stole from me. That money was for the family. No, Ethan, that money was mine, for my future. And Dale stole it while you all laughed about it. He stepped forward. Security moved between us. This isn't over, he snarled. Dad's got lawyers. He's going to sue you for defamation, harassment, everything. Good luck with that. But that night, a different kind of message arrived. A legal letter, sent via email from the law offices of Brennan and Associates. Ms. Monroe, you are hereby ordered to cease and desist all defamatory communications regarding Dale Whitaker. Your malicious and false allegations have caused significant damage to Mr. Whitaker's reputation. Unless you immediately retract all statements and issue a public apology, we will pursue legal action seeking damages in excess of $50,000. I forwarded it to Riley with one word: adorable. Her response came quickly. I'll handle this. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Let them try. Wednesday. 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep. The scheduled meeting with the church was in 13 hours. My phone showed 67 unread messages from various family members. The family was choosing sides, and the lines were being drawn. Team Dale Mom, Ethan, his drinking buddies, Team Ava Julia, Aunt Shirley. Most of the younger cousins neutral, but watching everyone else. I opened my laptop and started a new document. Questions for church board. How many others filed false hardship claims will Dale be required to repay the $54,000 are criminal charges being considered? At 3 a.m., one final text from Dale. You win this round. But this isn't over. I smiled at the screen. No, it wasn't over. It was just beginning. And I had 5 more days of evidence to collect before the real fireworks started. Wednesday morning, 8 a.m., Riley's office. She slid a document across her mahogany desk with a satisfied smile. Brennan and Associates just learned who they're dealing with, she said. My response went out at 7:30. I read her letter, savage in its professional precision. Mr. Brennan, your cease and desist letter has been reviewed. Please be advised that truth is an absolute defense against defamation claims. Every statement made by my client is supported by extensive documentation. Furthermore, your client, Dale Whitaker, should be aware that we are prepared to countersue for assault and battery documented by Red Ridge General Hospital theft, by deception $96,000 fraud false statements to obtain church assistance, intentional infliction of emotional distress, harassment. If Mr. Whitaker wishes to proceed with litigation, we welcome the opportunity to depose him under oath regarding his financial dealings. We also look forward to subpoenaing his bank records, tax returns, and all communications regarding my client's money. Please advise your client that any further contact with Ms. Monroe, direct or indirect, will be considered harassment and will result in immediate filing for a restraining order. We await your response. Riley Thatcher, Thatcher & Cole, LLC. That should shut them up, Riley said. Brennan's a bottom feeder who takes cases for drinking money. Once he sees we're serious, he'll drop Dale like a hot rock. What if Dale finds a better lawyer? With what money you were his cash cow, remember. At 10:15, my phone buzzed. Mom. Dale's lawyer dropped him. He's destroying the house. Please, Ava, just come talk to him. Call the police, Mom. I can't do that to him. Then leave. Go to Aunt Shirley's. He's my husband. I hung up. 24 years of watching her make excuses for him. I was done being her emotional support system. Riley pulled out another folder. Now, let's discuss the restraining order, the threatening messages, the workplace harassment, the physical assault. We have more than enough. How long does it take? Emergency protective order can be issued today. Full restraining order within 2 weeks. But Ava, she leaned forward. This will escalate things. Dale's going to lose what's left of his control. Good. I want him desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. That afternoon, I stood in a small courtroom as Judge Harrison reviewed my petition. The stack of evidence seemed to grow as I watched photos of my bruised face, transcripts of voicemails, Screenshots of texts. Ms. Monroe, the judge said, peering over his glasses. This temporary restraining order is granted. Mr. Whitaker is prohibited from coming within 500 feet of you, your home, or workplace. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. The paper felt like armor in my hands. 3:30 p.m. I walked into the church conference room to find Pastor Williams, Corinne Blackwood, and 3 board members waiting. The mahogany table gleamed under fluorescent lights that made everyone look slightly pale. Ms. Monroe, Pastor Williams began, his voice heavy. Your email has raised serious concerns. Corinne cut in, sharper. Dale Whitaker has defrauded this church of $54,000. We've verified everything you sent. He claimed no family support while you were sending him $2,000 monthly. Will you press charges? I asked. We're considering it, Pastor Williams said. But first, we need to understand the full scope. Were there others involved? Check Ethan's applications, I said. He claimed hardship last year when he was posting pictures from Vegas. Corinne made a note. We'll investigate. There's something else, I said, then told them about Julia and Brittany. The room went silent. We'll need to contact them directly, Pastor Williams said finally, his face gray. If these allegations are substantiated, Dale Whitaker will never set foot in this church again. Corinne finished. Thursday morning brought unexpected satisfaction. A text from my cousin Marcus. Dale showed up drunk at the church demanding money. Police arrested him for trespassing. It's on video. I pulled up the church's security footage that Corinne had shared with me. There was Dale, stumbling across the parking lot at 11:20 p.m., pounding on the doors, screaming about betrayal and abandonment. When Officer Rodriguez arrived, Dale took a swing at him, assault on a police officer. Beautiful, Riley called within minutes. Did you see? Already downloaded the video. This changes everything. With a criminal charge pending, no lawyer will touch his civil case against you. And Ava. The restraining order just became much easier to make permanent. That afternoon, Ethan tried a different approach. A text from an unknown number. Ava, it's Ethan, using friend's phone. Dad's in jail. Can't make bail. Mom's falling apart. The house is going into foreclosure. You've made your point. Please stop. I didn't respond, but I did forward it to Riley with a note. Violation of restraining order, third-party contact. Absolutely, she replied. Want me to file? Not yet. Let him dig deeper. Friday morning, 9 a.m. The inevitable call from Mom. They're keeping him until Monday for a bail hearing. She sobbed. The house payment is overdue. We're going to lose everything. You're going to lose a house Dale bought with stolen money, I corrected. It's my home too. Then maybe you should have asked where the mortgage payments were coming from when your husband hadn't worked in 2 years. I trusted him. So did I, Mom, and look where that got me. Silence. Then, quieter. The church told me about Julia. About other girls. And I don't know what to believe anymore. Believe the evidence. Mom, it's all there in black and white. That evening, Riley sent an update. Prosecutor's office contacted me. They're considering charging Dale with fraud and theft. Your documentation has been invaluable. Also, Brennan formally withdrew as Dale's attorney, citing irreconcilable differences, translation Dale can't pay. I poured a glass of wine, my first in weeks, and stood at my apartment window, looking out at Red Ridge's skyline. 5 days since the email bomb. Dale in jail. Restraining order in place. Criminal charges pending. But the best message came at 11:53 p.m. from Julia. Aunt Ava, thank you for being brave. Brittany and I are meeting with Pastor Williams tomorrow. We're also filing police reports about what Dale did. You gave us courage to speak up. I saved the message, adding it to a new folder labeled Victory. Dale Whitaker thought he could steal my future. Instead, he'd just financed his own destruction. And we weren't even at the grand finale yet. Saturday morning, 10:15 a.m. Julia sat across from me at a quiet coffee shop downtown, her hands wrapped around a ceramic mug. She looked younger than 20, dark circles under her eyes telling the story of sleepless nights. Aunt Patty knew, she said quietly. When I told her about Dale cornering me in the basement, she said I must have misunderstood, that Dale was just being friendly. She knew exactly what happened, I said. She told me it would destroy Grandma if the family split apart, that sometimes we have to swallow hard things for family peace. Julia's voice cracked. I was 16. I thought I was being selfish for wanting to tell someone. You were a child. She was supposed to protect you. Brittany was 14, Julia continued. At the church lock-in, Dale volunteered as a chaperone. Found her alone in the kitchen at 2 a.m. My stomach turned. What did the church do? Nothing. Her parents didn't want to make waves either. Dale's been on the church board for 15 years. Who'd believe kids over him? They'll believe you now. With the fraud exposed, his credibility is gone. Julia pulled out her phone, showing me a text thread with her mother from 4 years ago. Clear as day. Don't tell anyone about Dale. Think about what it would do to the family. Can I forward these to Riley? I asked. Already did, and to the detective handling our case. My phone buzzed. Marcus, with a screenshot from Facebook. Dale's out on bail, posting crazy stuff. Dale's post read, false accusations from a vindictive stepdaughter trying to destroy a good man. Ava Monroe is a liar and thief who abandoned her family and now wants revenge. The truth will come out perfect. More evidence of violating the restraining order by discussing me publicly. That afternoon, an unexpected visitor at my apartment, Aunt Patty, Julia's mother. She stood in my doorway, designer purse clutched like a shield. We need to talk, she said, about how you covered for a predator. Her face flushed. I was protecting the family. You were protecting Dale. There's a difference. She pushed past me into the living room. You don't understand. If Julia had made those accusations public, it would have destroyed your mother. Marion's fragile. She couldn't handle, Mom's not fragile. She's complicit, and so are you. How dare you? Julia was 16. Brittany was 14. How many others were there while you were protecting the family? Patty sank onto my couch. I didn't think he'd do it again. You knew he'd done it before. Silence. Then, barely a whisper. There was a girl at his old job, before he married Marion. That's why he got fired from the warehouse, not the back injury he claims. I grabbed my phone. Recording. Say that again. Stop it. I won't. Then leave. But know this, I'm giving this information to the prosecutor whether you cooperate or not. She stood to go, then turned at the door. Your mother called me last night. Dale's been having affairs. 3 that she knows of. 1 with her friend from church. Another piece of Dale's mask crumbling. Sunday evening, 6:45 p.m. Mom called. I need to see you, she said. Dale's restraining order includes, I left him. I'm at Shirley's. I met her at Aunt Shirley's kitchen, fluorescent light highlighting every line in her face. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in a week. Linda Morrison, she said without preamble. From choir, I found texts going back 2 years, explicit photos, plans to meet when I was at work. Mom, I'm sorry. No, she held up a hand. I knew about the money, not all of it, but I knew he was using your savings. He said it was temporary, just until he got back on his feet. The admission hung between us. You knew he was stealing from me. I thought he'd pay it back. He promised. He beat me when I asked for it back. I know. Sandra from the hospital called me, showed me the photos. Tears streamed down her face. I chose him over my own daughter. Yes, you did. I want to help. With the case, I have documents, emails where he admits taking the money, bank statements showing casino withdrawals. Why now? Because Julia told me what he did to her, and Brittany, and there's another girl, from the neighborhood. The Martinez family moved away suddenly 3 years ago. Now I know why. Monday morning, Riley's office was electric with energy. Your mother's documents are gold, she said. Dale explicitly admits in writing that the money was yours, that he took it without permission, and that he never intended to pay it back. What about the criminal case? The prosecutor is moving forward. Fraud, theft, and now with the girls coming forward, possible sexual assault charges, Dale's looking at serious prison time. Good. There's more. The church is suing to recover their $54,000. The mortgage company is foreclosing. Turns out Dale hasn't made a payment in 3 months, even with your money. And the IRS is now interested in his unreported income. My phone rang. Unknown number. Against better judgment, I answered. You fucking bitch. Dale's voice, slurred with alcohol. You destroyed everything. My marriage, my home, my reputation. Dale, you're violating the restraining order. I don't give a shit about your restraining order. You're going to pay for this. You think you're safe. You think this is over. I know where you work. I know where you live. I'm going to... I hung up, immediately calling 911. Dale Whitaker is violating a restraining order and making threats. 20 minutes later, Riley called. He's been arrested again. Violation of restraining order, criminal threats. Bail will be revoked this time. That evening, I met with Julia, Brittany, and surprisingly, Rosa Martinez via video call. Rosa, now 18 and living in Denver, had kept silent for 3 years. I was 15, Rosa said. Dale offered to teach me to drive, took me to empty parking lots. That's where it happened. 3 girls, 3 families who chose silence over justice, but not anymore. We're filing a joint complaint, Julia said. Together, public, no more hiding. As I drove home, my phone filled with messages. The news was spreading through Red Ridge like wildfire. Dale Whitaker church board member, supposedly injured worker, family man was being exposed as a fraud, a thief, and a predator. But I wasn't satisfied yet. Dale still had one card to play, and I was going to make sure when he played it, I'd be ready. The trap was almost set. All the players were in position. And Dale, sitting in a jail cell with no bail, no lawyer, and no money, was about to learn what happened when you called someone a cash cow while bleeding them dry. The real show was about to begin. Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Uncle Ray's garage smelled of motor oil and sawdust, overhead fluorescents casting harsh shadows on the assembled faces. He'd orchestrated this birthday dinner for Aunt Shirley, though her birthday was 3 weeks away, knowing it would draw everyone out. Dale had been released that morning on his brother's recognizance, ankle monitor and all. He sat at the folding table Ray had set up, trying to project his old authority. But the bravado was cracking. His hands shook as he lifted his beer. I arrived last, deliberately. The conversation stopped when I walked in. Mom sat in the corner, avoiding everyone's eyes. Ethan stood behind Dale like a bodyguard. Julia and her father Danny positioned themselves by the door. Corinne Blackwood sat primly next to Pastor Williams. Ray had invited them as family friends. The gift box in my hands drew attention, wrapped in silver paper, pristine bow on top. Didn't think you'd show, Dale said, voice rough from jail air. Wouldn't miss Aunt Shirley's birthday. I set the box on the table. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a folder and a small voice-activated recorder, invisible among the decorative packaging. Since we're all here, I said, pulling out papers, I thought we should finally clear the air about the savings account. Dale's jaw tightened. There's nothing to discuss. Really? I laid out a bank statement, the empty savings account he'd supposedly been managing. 0 balance, 4 years of deposits, $96,000. Where did it go? Dale. Into keeping this family afloat, he snarled, while you played big shot at your office job. Interesting. I pulled out mortgage statements, because the mortgage is in default. Has been for 3 months. Ethan stepped forward. Dad used that money for the casino. I interrupted, producing withdrawal receipts, the trips to Vegas, the new truck that's about to be repossessed. Dale stood, chair scraping. You don't know what it's like keeping everything together. Your mother's medical bills, the house repairs. Mom hasn't been to a doctor in 2 years, I said, and the only repair you've done is breaking the screen door worse than it was. You ungrateful. Let's talk about grateful. I pulled out the church documents. $54,000 in hardship assistance while claiming no family support. While I was sending $2,000 monthly, Corinne spoke up. The church has already filed fraud charges. Mr. Whitaker. Dale turned on her. You sanctimonious bitch. Careful, Pastor Williams warned. You're already facing enough charges. Charges. Dale laughed bitterly. For taking care of my family, for accepting charity, for managing money badly. For theft, I said. For fraud. And for this. I pulled out Julia's statement. The room went silent. You want to tell everyone what you did in that basement. Dale. Or should Julia? That's a lie. But his face had gone pale. 3 girls, I continued. Julia, Brittany, Rosa Martinez. All with similar stories. All too scared to speak up because men like you count on silence. You're making this up to, I have recordings, Julia said quietly from the doorway. From when I told Mom 4 years ago. She admits she knew. Aunt Patty's face crumbled. Danny moved toward his daughter protectively. Dale's control snapped. Fine, yes, I took your money. Every fucking penny. You owed me that much for raising your ungrateful ass. Your real father ran off, left me to deal with his mess. The recorder in the gift box captured every word. I wasn't his mess, I said calmly. I was a 10-year-old child. A burden. Another mouth to feed. Another body to clothe. You think Marion could have managed without me? She managed fine before you. Living in that shithole apartment, working 3 jobs, better than living with an abuser and a thief. Dale lunged across the table. Ray and Danny grabbed him, pulling him back. His beer bottle shattered on the concrete floor. I'll kill you, he shouted. You've destroyed everything. My reputation, my marriage, my life. Dale, stop. Mom finally spoke, standing. Stop lying. Stop threatening. Just stop. He turned on her. You knew everything and kept quiet like a good wife. I was scared, Mom said. But I'm done being scared. Mr. Whitaker, a new voice said from the garage entrance. Officer Rodriguez stood there with 2 other cops. Sounds like you're violating your restraining order again, and making threats. You called the cops. Dale looked at me with pure hatred. I didn't have to, I said, glancing at Ray, who held up his phone. Uncle Ray's been live streaming this whole conversation to Facebook. 300 viewers, including someone at the police station. Dale's face went from pale to purple. You set me up? I gave you a chance to tell the truth. You chose to confess instead. As the officers moved in, Dale made one last desperate play. Wait, I have information. About Ethan. About the drugs. Shut up, Dad. Ethan looked panicked. He's been dealing from the house, using your money to buy supply. Check his room. You'll find. The officers cuffed Dale while Ethan backed toward the door. Danny blocked his path. Going somewhere? Danny asked. The scene descended into chaos. Officers calling for backup. Ethan trying to run. Dale screaming about frame-ups and conspiracies. Mom crying. Corinne taking notes for the church's legal case. I walked to the gift box, retrieving the recorder and holding it up. Every word, I said to Riley, who'd been watching from her car outside, ready to intervene if needed. Confession to theft, fraud, and assault on minors. Beautiful, she said. With the live stream as backup, he can't claim coercion or editing. As Dale was loaded into the police car, he turned to me one last time. This isn't over, he said. Yes, I replied. It is. You're done stealing from people, done hurting girls, done pretending to be anything other than what you are, a pathetic con man who thought he could live off his stepdaughter forever. The garage fell silent as the police cars pulled away. The family stood in scattered groups, processing what they'd witnessed. Julia approached me. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, I said. The trial's going to be ugly. I don't care. He's finally facing consequences. Mom stood alone by the wall. I walked over. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. Can you forgive me? I thought about 10-year-old me, desperate for stability. About 24-year-old me, trusting Dale with my future. About 34-year-old me, finally free. Maybe, I said, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't mean we go back to how things were. She nodded, tears streaming. As I left the garage, Corinne stopped me. The church is prepared to testify, she said, and we're establishing a fund for Dale's victims. Would you consider being on the board? Let me think about it. I drove home through Red Ridge's quiet streets, the weight of 4 years finally lifting. The recorder in my passenger seat held Dale's confession. My phone contained dozens of messages of support, and for the first time since I'd started those monthly transfers, my bank account was truly mine. The cash cow had broken free, and the farmer was heading to prison. The courtroom was packed for sentencing day, 3 months after that night in Ray's garage. Dale sat at the defendant's table in an orange jumpsuit, his attorney, a public defender, now shuffling papers beside him. The man who'd once strutted around town playing the injured worker looked deflated, aged 20 years in 3 months. Judge Martinez read the charges slowly, deliberately. Theft by deception, wire fraud, filing false statements, 3 counts of sexual assault of a minor. The list went on for 5 minutes. Mr. Whitaker, you systematically stole $96,000 from your stepdaughter while simultaneously defrauding a church of $54,000 in charitable assistance. You preyed on the trust of family and community. Worse, you used your position to assault vulnerable minors. Dale didn't look up. I sentence you to 12 years in state prison, with possibility of parole after 8. You'll be registered as a sex offender and owe restitution of $150,000 to your victims. The gavel came down at 11:47 at I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not relief, just empty. 4 years of my life, $96,000, countless nights of ramen and anxiety, all to feed Dale's greed. Outside the courthouse, Mom waited by a bench. She'd testified for the prosecution, providing crucial evidence about Dale's spending and his admission of taking my money. The divorce had been finalized a week ago. The house is gone, she said quietly. Foreclosure went through yesterday. Where will you go? Shirley's letting me rent her basement apartment. I got a full-time job at the medical center. Reception desk. We stood in awkward silence. 3 months of therapy hadn't bridged the gap between us, though we were trying. I put aside some money, I said finally. $5,000 to help you get started. She shook her head. I can't take your money. Not after. It's not for you. It's for the 10-year-old girl who deserved better. For both of us. Riley met me at her office that afternoon, a champagne bottle on her desk. The civil suit settled, she announced. Dale's brother paid $30,000 to make it go away. The church recovered $20,000 through insurance, and the IRS is garnishing any future income Dale might have. $50,000 out of $96,000, plus the $10,000 from the Victims Assistance Fund. It's not everything, but it's enough. I signed the settlement papers. What about Ethan? Pled guilty to possession with intent, 2 years probation, mandatory rehab. Turns out he'd been using my money to fund his dealing operation too. That evening, I sat in my apartment, a new one, in a better part of Red Ridge, with working locks and no memories. My laptop showed my bank balance $63,000, not quite what I'd saved, but enough to start over. Julia called at 8:15 p.m. Did you see the news article? I pulled up the Red Ridge Gazette website. Local church implements stricter oversight after fraud case. Below, another headline. 3 women come forward about historic abuse. We did it, Julia said. He can't hurt anyone else. You did it, I corrected. You and Brittany and Rosa, you were brave. We had an example to follow. After she hung up, I opened a new document on my laptop. Lessons from a cash cow trust, but verify always. Family isn't permission for exploitation. Silence protects predators, not families. Your money is your future, guard it. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I stared at the list, then deleted it. I didn't need written reminders. The lessons were carved into my bones now. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Nora stood outside with takeout bags and a bottle of wine. "Thought you could use company," she said. We sat on my new couch purchased with my own money, not donated or borrowed, and ate Thai food while she filled me in on office gossip. Normal conversation. No mention of Dale or trials or stolen money. "You know what the best part is," I said suddenly. "What?" "I don't check my bank balance obsessively anymore. For 4 years, I watched every penny, calculated every transfer, worried about that money I thought I was saving. Now it's gone, and I'm free. 63,000 isn't gone. No, but the weight is, the obligation, the feeling that I owed them something for existing. At 11:59 p.m., my phone buzzed, a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Ava, this is Linda Morrison, from your mom's church. I wanted to apologize. I knew Dale was married. I knew about the money. I'm sorry for my part in hurting your family." I deleted it without responding. Some apologies came too late to matter. I stood at my window, looking out at Red Ridge's lights. Somewhere across town, Mom was starting over in Aunt Shirley's basement. Somewhere else, Julia was finishing college, free from her secret. And somewhere in state prison, Dale Whitaker was lying on a narrow bunk, his cash cow gone forever. The October wind rattled my windows, but I didn't flinch. The apartment was warm, paid for with my own money. The locks were solid. The future, though depleted, was mine alone. I pulled out my phone and canceled the automatic reminder I'd set 4 years ago. Transfer $2,000 to Dale 15th. The cash cow was dead. Long live Ava Monroe, who'd learned the hard way that family isn't always blood. Trust requires verification. And sometimes the best revenge isn't just success, it's justice served cold. With evidence. In a courtroom at 11:47 a. My phone showed one last message from Riley. "Proud of you. You didn't just get revenge, you got resolution." I poured the last of the wine, raised my glass to the empty room, and toasted myself the woman who'd lost $96,000 but gained something priceless, freedom from the man who'd seen her not as family, but as livestock. The cash cow had won. Thank you for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're hearing this from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and share your thoughts about what you would have done in my situation. Your support means everything.